As always, we have our very special guest, Dr. Hanan Al-Basha. How are we on this beautiful Sunday morning or
Fine, thank
afternoon,
you,
should I
Stefan.
say?
Yes, had a long weekend, so good, all good.
Yeah? A good weekend?
It was good, yeah.
Now, do the weekends just seem like the week?
Well, we don't have virtual school on the weekend, so no, they don't seem like the week. I enjoy them. I get more work done on the weekend, so
I've started to do my wife started to work back on the Wednesday, so I've been homeschooling the Wednesday, Thursday, and the Sunday. And I'm eating my words, because when this whole homeschooling started, a week in, I was saying to my wife, "Look, just say you can't handle it, And now she's saying, "What were you saying when I did a week of
exactly. What
I
goes
eat my
around
words.
comes around. Be careful what you say these days.
Unbelievable. And we have a very special guest. It's Mr. Ahmad Abbas, better known for Sit Down With Seth podcast. How are we?
Hey, Seth, man. Thanks for having me on, man. I'm good.
No, as I was saying just before we went on air, this is probably the best audio that they're going to get. So
you got 3 podcasters, and they're all trying to we got to have our gear on deck. Here's what's funny. So most of my gear is back at the office, and I'm limiting the outings. So I went once to pick up something, I can't remember what exactly. It'll come to me. But I was like, I came back. I'm like, I'm not gonna do any podcasts. I think I'm gonna take a break, and then it dawned to me, then I discovered Zoom, and I'm like, I can do something about this. I'm sure I have some equipment lying around, and I can show you right now. Microphone right here.
Yeah.
Just testing out different mics. I have an interface somewhere over there. And just for a good week, I'm just testing out equipment, and I'm calling my videographer. I'm like, dude, I found Zoom. Like, yeah, dude, you just heard of this? I'm like, oh, now you tell me? He's like, yeah, man, it's Zoom. I'm like, dude, get on Zoom. Okay, can you hear me? Test. And it was literally a week of me and my videographer going, is this working? Is this good? Is this good? None of it was fine. I go to the store called 974 store. It's a gaming store.
Oh, yeah.
And they sell this live stream kit, which is a little camera, nice little HD camera, and a USB microphone. Just literally plug and play, and all of a sudden I'm like, home podcast, good to go.
So hold on, how does that? So what setup have you got now? Is this microphone not plugged into your computer?
It is, but so here's the thing.
Yeah.
Before I had this mic set up, I had a interface which needs to be connected to the computer. And then you got a microphone connected to an XLR cable, a whole lot of craziness that's overcomplicated and that needed a lot of adjusting. To me, I thought that was going to take too much time, and it needs too much sort of work and audio, it's just too much time consuming.
Yeah.
To me, going with the just plug and play kind of concept was basically just getting a microphone that connects straight to your computer, USB, plug and play. So
no, I'm with you, Seth. And I was in the same situation as you when this all happened. I thought, okay, I'm going to give the podcast a rest. The studio is back in the office, blah 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 blah, just like you. And I was waiting. I think it took me 2 weeks before I thought, no, I need to give back. I need to do something because everyone's at home. They need a distraction. They need to know, I need to give back something. And that's why I created this. You need to have a look at B.live. This is what we're using, which is like Zoom, but I feel it's much more presented in a nicer way. And you can do all this lovely text, and you can change the way people appear on the screen, etc., etc. So I think it's a bit more flexible than Zoom is. So check out B.live.
I'll definitely check it out, because I kind of when I saw it, I was like, I thought you were gonna send me a Zoom, and you're gonna take a screen grab, and because we're a live podcast as well. We kind of do our show live on YouTube, but because of certain things.
You can do this on YouTube as well. You get a choice
okay.
whether you want to go live to YouTube or if you want to go live on Facebook. So obviously we're going live on Facebook, but yeah.
I will definitely look into it because we kind of do this our own thing where it's kind of like we just do I record a Zoom session and I send it off to our videographer, and our videographer is, I don't know, to me is one of the best in the business. I love him to death. He's like a brother to me, and he just kind of does his magic, and we have like a little intro, outro, and it's like that's kind of how we kind of work with things. And I'll be honest, I'm useless without him.
Hey, you don't think I'm doing this all by myself, do you?
So that's what I'm saying. So when it comes to like trying to manage people and screen, it's all him. So he's like, he looks at me, he's like, Seth, all you got to do is look at your guest and engage him. You don't worry about where the camera is going to go. You don't worry about the intro. You don't worry about the outro. All you got to do is do your job. You got your notes. You got your guest. You focus on him. You have so that's pretty much it.
Put him on B.Live. Get him to check it out.
I'll definitely check it out.
It's fantastic. Anyway, so if people haven't guessed what this show is about, it is about podcasts. So I want us to give, three lovely people. Seth, I've been following you for, I don't know, how long you been going for now?
Wow. I've passed the year mark.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And this is just the professional side of the year mark. If you want me to dig into my podcast history, I've been doing podcasts for quite some time now.
Well, that's my first question. What got you into podcasts in the first place?
That's a good question. So in 2009,
yeah,
we were sitting at Coffee Beanery, and I'm just chatting up a storm with me and my buddies. And we have a friend of mine, good friend of mine. His name is Deeb. Shout out to this guy, Deeb, by the way. Deeb is the reason why I can figure out how to use OBS Live and how to connect my fancy camera to the computer. He was the tech support when I started to Down With Seth. So shout out to this guy. It was me, him, and my buddy Sid, and a bunch of other guys, and we were just talking. And conversation was going nowhere. We were just talking up a storm. We were laughing, and we were just laughing. And one day I just call up my buddy Sid. I'm like, yo, we should record this. This should be recorded. He's like, what do you mean? Like, bro, imagine this. We have the same conversation, but we have mics. There's no intro. There's no outro. We do a little intro, and then we just start talking. Nonsense. And we had our first ever podcast called the Coffee Shop Podcast. And because we would have these conversations at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that didn't get so much attention. It didn't go so far because the guy who did audio was very particular with the sound. So he was like, oh, I got to go home and mix it and master it. I'm like, dude. And I was the guy like, man, you don't need to. Just leave it. Just record it and just let it out. No, man. We got to go. And that, unfortunately, didn't last too long. Years down, me and my buddy Sid, we decided to bring that project back to life again. Then the Sid and Seth podcast started.
Oh, okay. Sid and Seth. Okay.
Sid and Seth podcast, yeah. So me and my buddy, yeah.
So hold on. Look, where did the Seth come from? I'm curious because Ahmad Abbas and then the Seth. Where? Yeah. What's the story behind that?
Okay, just for everyone out there, I did not give myself this nickname. Don't. That's not a cool thing to do. You don't give yourself this nickname. So one day I was in a heated debate or a heated argument with one of my friends, and what's it called? All of a sudden, I just start getting really irritated. And when I get really irritated, apparently I sound like Seth Rogen, the actor. I don't see it. Okay. Apparently, I look and I sound like Seth Rogen. I start getting really mad. I'm like, what are you on about? No, I don't understand what you mean. No, I don't get it. I'm like, it's like, hey, look. You're doing it again. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, yeah, look. You sound like Seth Rogen. I'm like, I don't look like him. And I don't see it. And then all of a sudden, people start calling me Seth. And then I remember this day really clearly. And oh my God, I was in university. Someone that I don't really know, just someone random who is not related to any of our friends, he just comes up to me running. He stops me. He turns me around. He looks at his friend like, look, I told you. He looks exactly like him. I'm like, guys, relax. What's going on? It's like, yeah, me and Khalid, some other guy, we watched the movie called The Green Hornet, and I watched it and I couldn't stop but think about you. You mean the Seth Rogen movie? He's like, yeah, look, you're doing it again. It's like, what the hell is going on? So, and it just picked up, and people start calling me Seth. Sethy. Oh, Seth's here. Oh, look, my God, it's Seth. and I just kind of went with it.
Okay, so let's get back to Sid and Seth. The
Yeah.
Sid
So
and Seth show. So now that I know where Seth came from, okay.
Yeah. So the Sid and Seth podcast, that's kind of hard to say. So that was a fun project with me and my buddy Sid. Sid's a all-time like best friend. He's been with me since university. Me and him, we had the idea of the Coffee Shop podcast. So we're like, yo, we should continue it. But don't worry about the whole mixing and mastering because I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna get a mixer, get 4 mics, or at the time, no, we had 4 mics. We're gonna do 2 episodes a week. One episode is gonna be me and you. We're just gonna back and forth what happened on the weekend. We're gonna talk about just interesting stuff. What was cool about Sid and Seth, it got me into the idea of podcasting and having random people on and actually doing some research. So it first started off as just me and him. Then the second episode, we would bring just a friend, not someone who has anything to contribute, just a friend. And then I'm like, yo, we should just bring people that like we can have like stuff in common, like gym folk or people that we can talk to in the gym. And then I started asking all the interesting questions about gym, and I realized that me and him, we kind of realized I have a natural act to just like asking questions.
Yeah.
Then slowly we start bringing people who have interesting things going on, like gamers or people who have like a gaming channel. And all of a sudden I start asking myself, so what got you into gaming? All these like podcasting style questions, like I'm starting to care. It just sounds really bad, but I'm starting to actually care. And I'm like, what? I'm kind of writing down notes. I'm like, okay, this is really working. Sid invested in getting a SoundCloud account, which gives us unlimited storage space. So we were that SoundCloud podcast. We went hard for a few episodes. Sid unfortunately had to back out because work got in the way, life. So he had to stop. Then I kind of stopped as well. Everyone's like, what happened? What's going on? I was like, you know what? If Sid's not if he's too busy, I'll take the reins. I'll get my own show. I'll just start from scratch. I'll do the whole, I'll change up everything. So I went from Sid and Seth to Sit Down with Seth. Actually, it was Sit Downs with Seth. For some reason, I don't know why I took the S out, but it just sounded better for me at the time. And it was the same concept. I would have friends over. I wouldn't think much of it. I would record and I would just record an episode and just release it. Record an episode and release it. I would try to do as much as I can just to save time. And at the time, it wasn't focused on anything. We weren't a podcast that was based on anything. I'll just bring in anyone who's anyone, and we'll just talk about anything. It was literally not nonsensical, but it was like, ever watched the show Seinfeld?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And it was basically that, just chat about anything. But my idea was I'd bring people on who have something to talk about, just so I can like have questions ready. And then after a while of like, I think after 25 episodes, by the way, you can still find, I think, Sit Down with Seth original episodes on SoundCloud. Like I think there's like 3 episodes up. And they're really weird because we were just talking about anything. It was really, really funny. After that, I got approached by my, honestly, this person means the world to me because he is one of my closest and best friends. He is my coach and he is my mentor. So anytime I needed any guidance or anything, he was the person I would go to. He has a company called Force Sports. He approached me. He's like, I have an idea for you. I'm like, shoot, I'm all up for ideas. He's like, how about you take your podcast and you kind of like what's called redirect it to like the sports, fitness, lifestyle kind of field. I'm like, yeah, man. At the time, I was really into fitness. I was really into working out and staying healthy. And he's like, how about you just do that? And we'll help you with like finding guests, with going live. We'll set you up with a place you can record. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm 100% on board. And it was actually thanks to him and Force Sports who kind of gave me the platform, the team, the amazing like logos and all that, and all the amazing like you can see the quality of the videos. And I owe it to them for what I am today.
Superb.
Yeah.
And what would your like? I know Dr. Hanan is on the verge of launching her own podcast. What would your advice be? Because I think it's her that's stopping her from actually doing it. But she knows it's coming, but she doesn't know when the time is going to come. And I think what you said before was where you said to the other guys, look, let's just do it. Let's just put stuff out there. What stops other people is the fact that they're always worried about the quality and, you know, it won't sound right. What would your advice be to Dr. Hanan?
Okay, so Doctor, if you've noticed, I've been through two podcasts, I wouldn't say failed podcasts, but startup podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always been the same thing. We just stopped. So Coffee Shop Podcast, we just stopped. We had a hiccup and we decided not to work on it, and we just stopped releasing content. Sid and Seth, stuff happened and we just couldn't make time. There's an hour of your day you can do content, you can release. Consistency is key. Release content. When it comes to the world of podcasts and all that, if you're not tech savvy, that's completely understandable. There's a lot of easy programs you can use, but the idea of a podcast is just literally sit down, find anyone, literally anyone. So when I was doing Sit Down with Seth alone on SoundCloud, this is me. Hey, Nadine, what are you doing? Nothing. Come over. We're doing a show. Now? Yeah, now. No excuse. You need an hour of your time. Yeah. Talk about anything. As long as it's non-controversial, as long as it's, I mean, I always had a rule. I always had a rule on my show before this Sit Down with Seth, before the professional Sit Down with Seth. So my home Sit Down with Seth, I had the rule of no religion, no politics, and no exceeding the swear word meter. You know, so keep it clean, but it's okay. Take it easy, you know. But I always avoided politics and religion because that's very controversial and it's not my jam. I like to have fun. It's light. I like to enjoy my podcast. I like people to not fight, you know, and just consistency. So when I did it alone, I found it easier just to do stuff without having a lot of what's it called, editing. So just literally record on GarageBand, bounce the file, and then upload it on SoundCloud. So if you have a mic, if you have a recording software, and if you have a SoundCloud account, you have no excuse not to have an episode a week.
Absolutely, and that's why I keep on telling you. Look, she's got the setup there.
Yes.
I see a good mic.
I got it. It's the what's it? The Moana or something like that. It's with an M. I don't know. I asked Stefan, and then we ordered it on Amazon, and I got the setup. So I've got.
All I know is I can hear you clearly, and that's what's important.
Yeah, it's not. I don't have a problem with content, of course. I've been putting out a lot of content, a lot of written content as well, and I've been going live with Stefan. But this is our 5th week.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. I'm not camera shy, or I used to be, but now not anymore. I'm not camera shy. I'm not mic shy. I think it's just exactly what you said. It's about the consistency and it's about the commitment right now, just because I'm working on a few other projects. So I don't want to just add and overwhelm myself just because, as we were talking, I'm processing through everything that is happening without going exceedingly over my quota. So I have this thing that I'm just gonna launch soon, inshallah, my first online course. So I've committed myself that I'll go with a podcast as soon as that is out. So now I know that I can commit at least to 1 episode a week. And yes, the idea is there is to get to, well, I'm all about empowering women in business and in wellness and in health. So it is about talking to my friends and other women I can reach out to with those who have gotten through the learning lessons and the experiences that they would like to share to empower others. So yeah.
So you have there you go. You have there a nice setup for a podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah. Seth, how has this changed you as a person doing a podcast?
Wow, good question. Definitely got me to sort of be more active in my life. Be more. This sounds really weird, but interested in people and what they have to say. So even if I'm not doing a podcast, outside the world of podcast, I am engaging people more. I am listening to people. I am actually there kind of hearing what they have to say. And it sounds really weird. It's almost like I'm saying before that, I can care less about your opinion.
No, I can relate where you're coming from.
You know what I mean? But I realized that it gave me this like kind confidence to say that I'm here, I can listen, I can hear, I can bounce back conversations. It gave me also the appreciation for so many people that I have had people on the show that I'm blessed to have on, and it's almost like a privilege. And it is a privilege, not almost. It is a privilege because the people I've had on the show are amazing, and I've learned to appreciate what they do for a living, and I've learned so much and what they have. The other day, I realized something I feel ashamed of as a sports podcast. I had no idea that there was something called dressage, and then I met this amazing Qatari lady called Mariam, and she's a dressage horse rider, and it was just the conversation was astounding. It was astounding. I just did not know about this until that day. And of course, when I booked, I didn't know that, but when I booked the guest, I was like, oh my God, we have this, and it just got me interested in so many things, and I'm opening up my life to different sort of perspectives, and I'm like trying to do my research in every aspect of sports. So it definitely got me to expand my horizons. Definitely.
Very nice. So do you have a full-time job, or is this your full-time job?
So you know how I said I want to thank Force Sports for everything they put me through, and I really want to do. And there's someone I completely forgot to thank, and she's one of the best people in the world. Her name is Hiba. She works in Force Sports. She is like my mom. If you're watching, I'm sorry, Hiba, but you really are. She is the executive producer of the show. She helps me book guests. She forces me to do the work that I don't want to do. I don't want to do this. You better do it. So she's keeping me in line, and till this day, she's nothing but an amazing support. Basically, sorry, what you were saying?
No, I was saying, do you have a
Sorry,
is this your normal job?
How do you the other person I want to thank is my dad. And the reason why I say this because before this, I was working with my dad. My dad realized that this sit down with Seth thing was kind of growing.
Yeah.
He looked at me. He's like, "You're not happy." I'm like, "I'm kind of happy. Working for you is good. I'm getting money." He's like, "Is this thing with the podcast, is it working out?" I'm like, "It's going to work out. I told him it's going to happen. I'm going to make it happen regardless. There is no fail. It's going to work out for me." He's like, "Resign now. Focus on that." So he gave me his sort of blessing, his support to leave a good paying job. By the way, I come from a I wouldn't say traditional Arab family, but they expect people my age to be in a stable position.
Absolutely, yeah.
But I have two loving parents, two amazing parents, and I owe them a load of success, a lot of thanks to my success, to where I am now. Because they were like, "Leave this job and focus on this." I was like, "You sure? You guys, it's not a trick, right?" Like, no.
Yeah.
We'll support you with what you need. You just focus on it.
That's amazing.
So whenever they see me, I tell them, "Oh, I gotta go. I have a meeting. Oh, I have to do this. I got a show. I gotta do this." I can't help but see them be happy, and they're like, "He's doing it. He wasn't gonna be like, oh no, I'm gonna take it easy. No, he's actually he is actually caring. He's actually doing his part. He's actually taking initiative." And so I used to have a full-time job. This is currently So Sit Down with Seth is now my full-time commitment.
Excellent. With the podcast, you said you started in 2009. How have you seen the podcast playing field change in the Middle East? Are you monitoring? Are you seeing it? How it's growing in popularity? And when you go out there, when you mention about podcasts, did you get that confused look at the beginning? And have you seen that change?
So at the beginning of 2009, here's something interesting. So the reason why I really wanted to do something in 2009, like the Coffee Shop podcast, because I'm a big fan of Ricky Gervais, the Ricky Gervais show.
Yeah.
You know the animated cartoon where it's just a podcast?
No, I haven't seen it. I'm not a fan of Ricky Gervais, but
fair enough. He has a very twisted sense of humor, but he has this show where it's an animated cartoon, but it's basically a podcast where they animate the conversations.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's essentially a podcast. It's a 30-minute podcast where they just animate what the conference. And the bread and butter of the show is this gentleman in the show called Carl Pilkington, and he's the reason why they have the show. Here's how I started. So when I started, at the time, no one knew what podcasts were, what we were doing. They didn't get it. The concept to them was kind of off. They didn't seem to like the idea. That didn't throw me off. I didn't care. So I was like, I'll just do my thing because I just want to be like Ricky Gervais. But over the years, I slowly discovered, I think Ginger Camel and Your Onion showed up in 2010. You guys were before, 2010, 2011?
No, that's when we started the company, but I think we launched the first podcast in 2014.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe then. That's when I started catching. That's when I noticed there was a difference. I was like, oh, look, see, this is what I want to do. This is kind of like what's happening. A live podcast, kind of just talking, kind of interesting.
Yeah.
I noticed Doha Heat. I started noticing a bunch of other random podcasts. I think Joe Rogan podcast was something that everyone was talking about. When that dropped, when he dropped podcast, that's when everyone decided to jump on the podcast wagon.
Yeah.
You know, and I think he got the ball rolling for all the other podcasters to start doing something. But locally, I kind of wasn't paying too much attention. When I started to pay attention was actually not less than 2 years ago, because I wanted to investigate, see how other people are doing their thing and how I can be sort of a little different, or how maybe I don't want to emulate, but I want to have my own style when it comes to my show.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that was the same. Like 2014, we launched Doha Heat. But that wasn't me that launched it, but we gave them, we funded it and we gave it a platform. But I wasn't into podcasting until, I suppose, a couple of years ago. I wasn't, I would do podcasts, like I launched Your Onion 4 years ago, but I didn't really get into podcasts properly and listening to it about 2 years ago. And then I really appreciated what good content there was out there. Whatever you're interested in, you'll find a show. And it's amazing with podcasts, the fact that, we might be doing the same subject, but we have our own different styles, and you attract completely different audiences based on how you present it, the kind of topics that you do. So it doesn't matter who's in that field. You'll always have an audience. You'll always attract different types of people. And that's what I love about podcasts. And I think that's why podcasts try to support other podcasts, because they know that you're not a threat. You're not selling the same thing. Or you might be selling the same thing, but you're selling it in a different way.
Exactly. I mean, it's almost like saying, I don't know, this might be maybe a silly way of saying it, but it's like someone saying, oh, I like one book, one author, one person. It's like, really? You've never really reached out and tried different authors? You know what I mean? So when I go about my podcasts, it's almost like doing a show. So I completely forget that we're live sometimes, and we just talk. So even like my style is probably completely different than your style. And that's the thing. Sometimes I maybe go about it not looking at it the same way. Like, I don't see it as competition. If anything, I encourage it. Whenever I see a new podcast, I'm happy.
Absolutely. No, I think that's great, because then if someone finds their podcast, then surely they're going to be curious to see what other podcasts are in the area, so it's a win-win situation. So no, it's great. What podcasts are you listening? You said you got into podcasts. What podcasts do you listen to?
This is gonna sound really weird, and I think I've said this on air before, but I don't really listen to podcasts unless it's so funny that people told me this, like, really, you're a podcast? I'm like, yeah, I don't, and it's so weird because I feel like who I really watch? I watch talk show hosts. Yeah. So I watch a lot of the Conan O'Brien show, Jimmy Kimmel. Like the comedy side of how they do. Joe Rogan is a podcast that I'll watch, but I want to watch the full ones. I'll watch snippets. Yeah. But I kind of focus my energy on how to be a TV host more than a podcaster.
Is that your aspirations, to become a TV host?
Just to be in the entertainment business in a way. So aspiration really is just to make Down With Seth as big as it can and see how far I can take it.
But do you feel if you get to a point where, okay, like a TV channel is interested in taking you on board, don't you feel there's going to be that where they want to get involved and then they start dictating how you run the show? You know, the beauty of doing your own podcast is that you have that, you're in control.
Exactly. Yeah. See, the reason I'm like, no one takes control of the show. So the people who have absolute control of Sit Down with Seth is 4 Sports and myself. We are a collaboration. We work together. We brainstorm guests together. We are the reason why I Sit Down with Seth. So we try and limit outside influences as long as it's in our favor. You know, we definitely work together. We realize that working together is definitely how the show has gotten as far as it's supposed to be. So in terms of like if a television host wants to come in and kind of dictate the show, it really needs to kind of vibe with us and see if, okay, maybe, you know, they got us. If ever I want to pitch this show, I'm going to show them one of my episodes. I'm like, look, this is how the episode goes. This is how it is. We have segments at the end of the show. We do little fun games. That's the television part. That's the Jimmy Kimmel. That's the Fallon element where we have like a hot chocolate contest or just to spice things up, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has Channel 37 approached you yet? I know they are approaching various hosts of social media channels.
I'm sorry, who?
Channel 37. It's a new English channel on Qatar TV.
I can't speak on it. I've been approached for something, but not to be a host. I've been approached with something, but not a host.
No, it's a start.
Yeah. So I can't get into it because I signed something, so I can't really get into it. Yeah. But that's been put on hold due to this coronavirus.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah.
I was going to say, have you had any awkward moments on your show?
Not really.
No?
Because I tell people the show is like, don't worry. The show is basically a conversation. I literally sit in front of you and we just talk. That's the podcast element.
Have you found where the guest doesn't really talk and it's taken a lot of energy to pull them along?
Yeah. So it's not like they don't talk, but they don't maybe expand on their questions.
No,
or they don't
expand. They just give you a 1-sentence answer.
Not really. Yeah, kind of 1 sentence and they're a little shy. And it's not, to me, I don't try and make it awkward. I just jump to the next subject. That's how I kind of avoid the awkwardness. So the more I kind of keep asking questions, or the more I kind of or I fill in with like a personal story just to make it funny or lighten the mood, or I crack a joke. Because I try to keep it light and funny as possible, because the idea of the show is not to put them on the spot, even though they're kind of on the spot, but just to make it light and they can be comfortable. And I always encourage my guests to come to the studio a good 15 minutes before, just so we can have some banter.
Yeah.
You know, kind of loosen them up.
Relax. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And that helps a lot. So there is a difference when they come exactly on time and then we have to go live.
Yeah.
And when they've been chilling with us for like 30 minutes and we've been talking and we avoid subjects of the show. We kind of just talk about literally anything. Oh man, how'd you get here? Oh yeah, traffic was horrible. Oh, did you see that new movie? Yeah. Literally. Oh, we got to go live. All right. And then it's just, the conversation just continues.
Yeah.
There is a switch that turns on and I can see myself turning into Seth. And I'm all of a sudden, hey guys, welcome to Sit Down with Seth. It's so weird. I can see it even when I'm like watching myself. I'm like, my attitude changes, but my posture changes. It's almost like a complete utter switch. But I don't let it affect my attitude. I'm still that same guy. I'm still funny. I'm still trying to bounce off questions off you, and nothing has changed. We're still the same people. There is no camera. Just don't swear and don't talk about religion. Don't talk about politics.
Yeah.
Focus on you. We're talking about boxing. Give me your boxing career. You know, this example, you know.
A question. If anyone wants to set up a podcast, what would your tips be if they want to earn money from doing a podcast?
Earn money. That's different. So earning money on podcasts, I mean, it takes work. Stay consistent. Release good content. Show them that you're worth it. Keep working hard. My idea about right now about earning money, it's not really important, because to me, I'm just trying to focus on kind of releasing content after content. I want to show people that if they want to sponsor or if they want to see, they can rely on someone who's going to keep releasing content and good content.
Yeah.
You know, so just stay consistent, work hard, and that's the thing. Honestly, consistency is key, and this goes with anything. I mean, I think that advice affects any aspect of life. Like even when it comes to training, people are like, "Oh yeah, I used to train and I stopped, and now everything hurts." Like, yeah, because you stopped. That's why. If you're consistent, you will feel no pain. You have to push through that pain. So there's a period. I don't know why my voice went high, but there's a period of time where it's kind of like you think things are not going to work out. That's the I was going to swear. That was the crappy period. That was the bad period. That's that period. That's that part where you got to just push through. You got to keep focusing, look, and say, I want to get from here to here, but I got to get through a load of crap, a lot of mud.
Yeah.
You got to crawl through to get. Basically, you have to work for it, and that's the truth. Honestly, that's basically the truth.
No, absolutely. Dr. Hannan, we're running out of time. Have you got any questions for Seth?
I think I'm gonna hit him up later, but no, I think he's done a great job just at taking us through the broadcasting segments, and it's really just that he's just summed it up. Get to it. If you're interested, do it. Get the content out. Be consistent in your efforts, which more or less goes out with any other business we are talking about.
Absolutely.
And yes, even with business, I mean, there are 100 people doing a loaf of bread, but they're still doing the loaf of bread. So they're still got business and they're still got their own customers. And that's the thing where we're all unique, we're all individual, and every person brings a new flair and a new taste and flavor to a podcast. And I'm sure even talking to the same person, it's going to bring out the different angle of them. So thank you for that, for sharing. And now I'm excited. Now I really want to get my podcast started.
I'll be waiting. I'm waiting. I'll be expecting some shows.
I'm waiting as well.
Yeah.
I'll be on your show. The new Oprah Winfrey of the Middle East.
Definitely.
Great. Thank you, guys. Thank you for being great sports. Thank you, Seth. You've been a star. Appreciate it. Wish you all the luck and stay safe. And Dr. Hannan as well. Thank you for being on the show again, and see you on Tuesday. Thank you. Thank you for watching, everyone.